I thought it would be interesting to talk about. I noticed an article about Andy Jassy, who came in and replaced Jeff Bezos at Amazon, and I didn't really realize what was going on at Amazon at the time that he came in, and I thought that there were, as I kind of dug into all the things that he had done, I thought that it would be actually helpful for everybody, particularly in this environment that we're in right now, where a lot of people are telling us that they're experiencing challenges in their business in terms of revenue and profits and valuation and things like that, which are the three pillars of our Scalable program. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Business Lunch Podcast with your host, Ryan Dice, and myself, Roland Frazier. We are excited to be here with you today. Ryan, how are you doing today? We're just coming back as this is being recorded after the weekend of the 4th of July. Did you have a patriotic
I'm great. You what?
Did you have a patriotic hot dog and firework filled extravaganza?
Man, no fireworks. Fireworks freak me out. I one time had a friend of mine who we went out to a lake, and another buddy of ours bought the big mortars, like, so not like the punk fireworks that you light and they go up, but like the ones that basically have their own launching mechanism.
Yeah, you see the little balls go up in the air.
Yeah. So we got those, and a buddy of mine, who is normally a very smart, responsible person, we were putting those up, and he put them all in upside down. And when you put those mortars in upside down, well, number one, they don't go up, they go down, but down you see is the ground. And so what happened when they exploded, it blew up like the cylinder thing that they were in, and it was a multi-stage thing that blew up all the stuff around us. And so we're standing around these things while mortars or fireworks are going off at our feet. Everybody was okay. But since then, I've kind of stayed away from fireworks. So none for me. What about you?
I didn't. The last time I did fireworks was at our buddy Frank Kern's place, and he happened to find some fireworks in the garage that he didn't know about. And of course, we may or may not have had a cocktail or two and decided that the prudent thing to do would be to light them off. But I can't confirm or deny where we were located, but it may or may not have been something that's permissible under the applicable local statutes.
Oh, there's no way in your neighborhood. I'm surprised you didn't get arrested.
Not in my neyborhood. Now I'm not. There's no. I absolutely will not confirm or deny what neighborhood it was taking place in. But so we did decide to go outside, which I thought was very, very responsible.
It's good. Step one.
Yeah. So we set the thing up, but we were concerned about the possibility that it was a mortar thing. If we set this thing up and it threw stuff up in the air, it might come down in the surrounding area. And in the particular locale that we were located in, which I can't confirm or deny, it is generally possible that could lead to a raging fire, which would be generally considered bad, right? So, and possibly traceable back to the source somehow. So what we decided to do instead was we engineered a sideways launcher to fire the projectiles from a chair that we wedged the thing into and backed up with a plant or something and aimed it at the waterfall of the pool that he had. So we could just see multiple shots going across the pool in different colors. And it also didn't work out exactly like we thought it would. So I know you're thinking like, holy crap, what could go wrong? That's brilliant and socially responsible.
I'm surprised. Yeah, so much science was involved.
So no, we had a chill. We used mostly water and not fire this 4th of July.
Same. We're in the pool. It's hot as crap. So
it's hot. Not doing it. It's really hot there, right? I keep seeing. The news. I never believe it, but apparently it's quite toasty where you are now.
I heard the same thing about where you are. So yeah, the news is a bunch of, doing what they do. I'll tell you what I am happy about, and then we can move off the weather topic, which I'm sure nobody cares about. But
this is where the comments are like, they talked about nothing for the first time. I know. It's lunch, guys. We're talking about stuff.
Yeah, it's freaking business lunch. Although if that's your comment for this one, you're right. But there's that hurricane that's out in the Gulf of Mexico that I thought was going to just obliterate my beach house. It didn't. It turned north. Unfortunately, when my dad lives in the Houston area and it's hitting them right now, I was chatting with them. They're okay. No flooding, but he said, we lost a fence. we lost power. But I did something, the greatest gift I think I've ever given anyone. I got my dad a generator for his
Yeah,
house. And
it's
it
the
has come in
best.
handy so many times because they just get really bad storms in the
Do
Houston
you have
area.
one as well at your place?
So um, I don't because I got one for my dad, and holy crap, it was expensive. And then I found out what it was going to cost for my house because it's bigger, and I was like, we're sort of done with hurricane season, all that like bad stuff. I'll do it next year. And then next year became another year and another year and another year. And thankfully, we haven't really had need for it
That's cool.
since that happened. But I know I'm just tempting fate. So after this, Emily
Ours
was
comes
like,
"on
"We're
fairly
getting one."
frequently living here in the blackout state.
Yeah, yeah. So
But cool. Well, let's move to some businessy topics since this is business lunch, right? What do you think?
I was hoping we could just keep talking about the weather, but yeah, you're probably right.
So I thought it would be interesting to talk about. I noticed an article about Andy Jassy, who came in and replaced Jeff Bezos at Amazon, and I didn't really realize what was going on at Amazon at the time that he came in, and I thought that there were, as I kind of dug into all the things that he had done, I thought that it would be actually helpful for everybody, particularly in this environment that we're in right now, where a lot of people are telling us that they're experiencing challenges in their business in terms of revenue and profits and valuation and things like that, which are the three pillars of our scalable program. And so I thought it was really interesting. And one of the investors even said, and they quoted them as, "I'd rather have Jassy than Bezos." And it was one of the top Amazon investors. So I thought that was really interesting. And I'm just looking to see. Let's see. So the shareholders were not happy. This was when he came in, and he came in, I think, around mid or end of 21, and so this was at an investor meeting in 22. It said the shareholders were not happy. Amazon had just become the first company to shed $1 trillion in market value, which is amazing that you can do that and stay in business, and was on its way to a 2.7 billion-dollar annual loss. And so it talks about how he basically came in, he helped push the company's market cap above 2 trillion for the first time, and he's been there for 3 years. So it's kind of a short, like, I like it because it's a short amount of time that he's really been there, and he's had some pretty significant, some pretty significant wins. So that's kind of where I wanted to start and talk about some of the things that he did and share that with you guys, and maybe us riff on it a little bit. So I basically distilled it down into a list of the major things that he did, which I'm scrambling to pull up on my iPad. And the first one was, and it's simple, but it makes sense. It's the power of a fresh perspective. And so he introduced a renewed focus on profitability. You get these CEOs like, like Mark Zuckerberg saying, what was it? This is the year of efficiency and things like that. So he actually came in with kind of a theme. And so I think people rally around themes. So a return to profitability and operational efficiency is kind of interesting. And it was counter to what had been going on before, which was Bezos' growth at all costs, right? Which you can't fault him for. Look what he built. But I thought that was interesting. And so the stock price more than doubled. It's gotten up above 2 trillion. And the action step, like thinking about the, what could people do here? I was thinking basically coming up with a theme for how are we going to go forward? What's the thing that we're going to rally around and get obviously buy-in, but buy-in from the employees, the investors, whoever the stakeholders in the business are, and then pick a specific target. Like, we're going to increase employee engagement by this much, or leads by this, or revenue, or profits, or whatever, valuation if you're, if you're dealing with that kind of thing. But I think having a KPI that you're going to hit around a new theme is kind of an interesting thing, just because it's hard when you're being beaten down a little bit to just say, well, we're going to get better with no, like, what are we going to do different? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, totally. I love that. It's and something we've done. Did a talk on this at a founders board meeting, I don't know, year and a half, 2 years ago now, but it's this idea of a keystone metric. And it's one of the things that we're very clear on. Every single quarter, when we do our quarterly sprint planning, we're going to get clear on what are our North Star metrics. Like, so these are the metrics that we're going to really focus on for this quarter. And those metrics need to align to a particular theme or a rallying cry. And I always like it. Can the theme or rallying cry fit on a t-shirt? And there have been some quarters where it's been particularly like, we need to get people particularly inspired. So we actually did print out, t-shirts that were, for that thing. And it, might have been like, ring the bell or stack the cash. And it's almost always something around, do we need to generate more top line sales, or more bottom line profitability? Sometimes there's things around, systemize to scale was one, but I do think that it's good to have a more subjective theme or rallying cry that people literally can remember. And if it's alliterative and if it fits on a t-shirt, that's great. But if it doesn't connect back to a metric that people can measure, then it's probably not going to last. It's just going to be like another, entrepreneurial arts and craft eagle in flight poster.
People want to know how they're winning. How do we know we're winning?
How do we know exactly?
Yeah.
And so we've got the North Star metrics that are kind of those leading metrics that we want to make sure that we impact. But then we'll also look at like, if we can, and it's not every quarter that we can come up with it, but like, what's a clear keystone metric? This one metric, if we get this one right, we believe it's going to prop up everything else. And sometimes that's actually a lagging metric. So it might be something like, we want to change from quarter to quarter or year to year. Amazon's on a much longer cycle than most of the companies we run are.